I had the privilege of viewing an entire scene from Arcane Season 2 during the Annecy Animation Film Festival, and it took me a while to decide whether or not I should post this video about it, because there are quite a few spoilers that some people might want to avoid. But many people have asked me to reveal what we were shown, and I realized that the people who don't want to know simply won't watch this video. Obviously, I don't have any actual images of the scene to show you. It was strictly forbidden to take photos or videos during the session, as you can see in this photo I took. Anyway, spoiler alert. Some of the information I'm about to share with you may have important consequences for Arcane Season 2. Now, with that out of the way, let's get started. Fortiche and Riot first explained the how and the why of this scene, meaning the reasons why they wanted to create it and the various stages of the creative process. The scene takes place in the middle of Season 2, somewhere in Zaun, but not too far away from Piltover, where an underground fighting pit has popped up. People from all around fight for money, glory, or whatever reason they chose. Vi is one of these fighters, and the entire scene focuses on her. The audience for these fights is largely made up of silhouettes, which helps to emphasize this focus on Vi, but Fortiche also admitted that it allowed them to save on animation costs. The aim was to show a new side of Vi as a character. In Season 1, she was a protector, who always took care of others before herself. And the question Amanda Overton and the other writers for the series asked was, who would Vi be if she had no one left to protect? What happens when you take everything away from a person who doesn't care about themselves? To answer this, they had to push her in a new direction, make her hit rock bottom before building her back up. Now, she's torn between two worlds. She never was and never will be a part of Piltover, and Zaun has changed so much that she can no longer consider the Undercity her home. She also has a new look. Her hair is longer, dyed black, and she uses grease as makeup to hide her tattoos during the arena fights, but most likely also to hide her traumas, much like Silco does in Season 1 with the makeup to cover his scar. She also has a new black leather jacket that gives off a Hells Angels biker vibe, with an image of a two-headed dog on the back, referencing the two-headed wolf from the jungle in League. Amanda told us this new appearance is a way of showing on the outside how she feels on the inside. Overall, it's an extremely dark and grunge vibe, just like the rest of the scene. The people from Fortiche told us they wanted to better show the dark, gritty, dangerous side of Zaun. They mentioned the scene from episode 4 where we can see Savika arriving at the last drop, which was supposed to be a gritty scene, showing the dark side of the Undercity, but ended up being a bit too festive, and it didn't quite hit the spot. This new scene was therefore meant to be, and I quote, much more hardcore, to expose the true atmosphere of Zaun. Now, let's move on to what actually happens in this scene. It starts with the voice of an announcer introducing the fighters who will face each other in this underground arena. The arena boss is a Yordle, who, quite frankly, looks disgusting. He looks nothing like the usual cute, fluffy Yordles. You could actually compare him to Smeech, the Yordle Chembaron from the trailer, which made me think that maybe Yordles in Arcane might be more affected by Shimmer than humans, physically and over the long run. Of course, humans also become deformed, as we saw in Season 1, but these Yordles are on another level. Anyway, the boss announces the start of the fight somewhat like Jabba the Hutt announces the pod race in Star Wars. He rips the head off of some sort of larva he's about to eat and spits it into a gong. Then we see Vi's opponent, a character, it turns out, we've seen before, whom the Fortiche team calls the Burly Henchman. Apparently, Fortiche also enjoys Vi kicking this character's ass, because a few moments later, she appears in her new outfit and smashes him right in the jaw with her iconic uppercut. The scene quickly transitions to punk music, and there's a rapid succession of opponents fighting Vi and getting sent to the ground one after another. followed by images of Vi in a dark nightclub taking shot after shot of alcohol before somehow managing to make it back to her very tiny and very messed up apartment, composed of a bed and a punching bag. When she wakes up, she trains, goes back to the arena, goes back to the nightclub, and goes back home in a continuous cycle of physical and mental violence during which she gradually loses her identity. Then it's Vi's turn to get knocked out in the fighting pit. Her drunken nights end with her barely able to stand, and she even starts hallucinating. In the crowd of dancing people, there's this character called Liquor, who used to work for Silco, and in a mix of drunkenness and loss of self, Vi sees Caitlyn in his place, and she hits her. A huge fight breaks out in the nightclub, and we see this character, who appeared in one of the teasers and will be part of Caitlyn's team in Season 2, who helps Vi and accompanies her back home. On their way in the street, Vi sees Piltover flags, triggering some surge of anger. When she gets home and sees herself in the mirror, she can't help but punch her reflection, shattering the mirror. And throughout this entire scene, we can also catch glimpses of the hooded character from the trailer, who turns out to be Jinx. She seems to be watching Vi, always staying in the background to avoid being seen by her sister. So, now that you have the scene details, let's move on to the analysis. The first opponent we see Vi fight was last known to be imprisoned in Stillwater. So his presence in the arena suggests that he was freed somehow, potentially during a prison break, possibly organized by Chem Barons, but more likely by Jinx during the first arc of the season. Remember, this scene takes place mid-season 2, likely in episodes 4, 5, or 6. And Vi's mental state implies that something very serious and very bad has happened. If the writers want to show Vi at rock bottom and make it so she has no one left to protect, it means she at least feels like she has lost Powder and Caitlyn. And given that she tried to hit her hallucination of Caitlyn, it clearly indicates some sort of hatred or at least resentment between them, where there once was cooperation, friendship, and even love. My hypothesis is that after her mother's death, Caitlyn was determined to stop and even kill Jinx. You can see it through the anger on her face in the trailer. But despite Jinx's actions at the end of Season 1, Vi still hoped to save her sister and bring back Powder instead of Jinx. Jinx's presence as the hooded figure in this scene means Caitlyn didn't kill her, but Vi might believe she did, which would explain her anger towards Caitlyn, her trauma upon seeing the Piltover flags, and her feeling that she has no one left to protect or save. This would also explain Caitlyn's mysterious lip injury seen in the trailer. It could have been caused by Vi, who may have hit her just as she hit her hallucination in the Zonite nightclub. Her reaction when seeing the Piltover flags is also extremely important. She clearly has some kind of PTSD, but in Season 1, Vi is slowly getting closer to Piltover. Although she never fully trusts them, she formed an alliance with Jace, fell in love with Caitlyn, and in the trailer for Season 2, she's wearing the Enforcer uniform. This reaction to the symbol of Piltover goes against all these elements, suggesting something horrific and extremely traumatic has happened to Vi, who has already endured so much. Losing the only surviving member of her family would explain this change of heart and the transformation Vi undergoes as a result. This transformation also strengthens the idea that, as I mentioned in my trailer analysis video, Fortiche is lying to us. The story of the hunt for Jinx, the battle between Piltover and Zaun, the final fight between Vi and Jinx can't be the focus of the entire season. And that's why I said that all those things would likely happen only during the first act of the season. We would then have a time jump, like in the first season, and discover a traumatized, long-haired pit fighter Vi in Act 2. In the trailer, Vi's hair is also much shorter than in the pit fighting scene. Of course, she could have cut it, but I think it's more likely that all the images of Vi in the trailer are from the first half of the season. And in any case, there are many other storylines to be explored beyond Vi and Jinx confrontation. So, who would Vi be if she had no one left to protect? Well, that question raises another. How did Vi lose those she had vowed to protect? And even though I do feel horrible for her, I can't wait to find out. How about you?